I'm sure you've noticed the buzz around the term agentic lately, specifically agentic AI. But what makes an AI tool agentic? Well, according to this blog, if you're using an LLM purely for reasoning and external memory, then you're not necessarily using an AI agent. What defines an AI agent is its ability to execute multiple tools towards a goal, and ideally the planning of how to get to that goal itself is also figured out by the large language model or the agent. In other words, the agent is going to figure out what tools it has in its toolbox and also the plan for how to fulfill the goal the user has. I started thinking about what it might take to build an AI agent. Of course, I want to orchestrate interactions across many data stores and many tools, but I need to hold state of that interaction potentially over long periods of time while my agent runs. I need the ability to self-heal, because if the probabilistic LLM returns bad data, I need to be able to retry until it returns good data without having to manually intervene in the agent. I don't want my agent running tools without my approval, not if they're important, so I need human-in-the-loop approval. I also need parallel processing for efficiency. And finally, I want to see what's going on inside my agent as it runs on a single conversation level, so I can troubleshoot perhaps individual problems, but also across all conversations so I can improve the agent's overall performance over time. And I'm a solutions architect at durable execution company Temporal, so guess which tool I think excels at all of these things. I thought I'd build a proof of concept AI agent using Temporal. On the left, I have my agent's interface. It's going to take me through finding an event to go to, finding the flights to get to that event, and invoicing me for the cost. And on the right, I have Temporal's UI. It's going to show me the agent running as a workflow. So let's chat. I'd like to travel for an event. The LLMs come back to me asking me, well, where do I want to go and what month I'm interested in. Over here, I can see that I've got my agent workflow running. This is the Temporal UI. You can see the event history is beginning to be filled with me prompting it and the LLM responding. So let's tell it Auckland in March. Okay, the agent has determined it has enough information to run its first tool. The tool is called Find Events. So let's confirm that and it will run. And on the right, you see Find Events has run after my confirm signal came into the workflow, and it's found 2 events for me. Fantastic. How about the Arts Festival? But also, I'm going to ask it to add a couple of days either side so I can enjoy Auckland a little more. And sure enough, it's agreed to that request and it wants to know where I'm coming from. Let's say I'm coming from LA. And there you have it. It has added a couple of days either side, and it knows I want to go to Auckland from LA. Let's find some flights. You see Search Flights is running here. Now it's finding real flights with a real API. It looks like it's found Cathay Pacific for that much money. Well, maybe there are other options. Show me other flights. Let's see if it found any other flights. Indeed it did. Air New Zealand is a great airline, so let's go with that. I want to go with Air New Zealand. And it's asked me if I want to proceed with invoice generation, and yes, please invoice me. So here we go. That should prompt the final tool to run. It wants me to create the invoice, so let's do that. Now, this tool is actually using the real Stripe API to create a test invoice, and it looks like it's succeeded. So if I go and click on that invoice, you see Stripe. My invoice is the right amount of money. And if I click into that invoice, you can see the flight details there. A real flight for a real price. Fortunately, it's a fake invoice, so I'm not going to get charged for it. But there you have it. That is my AI agent. And so what's cool about my agent is I'm actually giving the workflow the tools it's going to need to use and the goal as part of the input. What this means is the workflow code itself is completely generic. I could have provided it any goal and I could have seeded it with any tools that I preset up. But in this case, I said, you're going to find flights, you're going to generate invoices, and here are the tools you need to make that happen. If I go through to the code here, you can see that I have a goal registry with a goal event flight invoice, which is what we just ran, a tool registry telling it the tools and the arguments it's going to need. I just provide these as input to my workflow, which is a couple hundred lines of Python code. It's all LLM from there. Temporal and the agent just figure out what needs to happen from that point. You can find the agent source code here in GitHub. It's open source, and hopefully my proof of concept has inspired others into building AI agents using Temporal. Thank you.